Three attitudes that make women submit. Most men out here believe that women actually submit because a man tries to push a more of a anger. You know, he's like pushing and getting mad, and they think that that's actually dominance. But the dark truth is that submission is not something a man takes. It's something that a woman gives when her body recognizes that that person is somebody that she really wants to be with. And when many men out here who don't understand the game, what they'll do is they'll try to negotiate respect by giving compliments and things like that. They will try to buy her loyalty with effort, and they will always try to force an attraction with words. But none of those things actually work long term, because a woman doesn't submit to what a man says. She always is going to move off of what the man is to herself. And when you don't have the game and you're very unstable, you know, she might smile and she might show you that she's interested in you lightly. But the problem is that too many of these guys out here today are always trying to control what her response is and what a woman feels, versus being the guy to draw something out. And I think what people don't understand when it comes to the game, this is what changes everything. When a woman actually submits, she feels that a man that she's talking to has direction, that he's calm, and that he has dominance. And she gets that through a certain kind of clarity. A man that doesn't actually over-explain himself, you know, it's not about being cold and distant, excuse me. It's all about standing on who you are, your principles, your laws, your rules, and your codes. And she's not trying to disrupt the interaction the two of you guys have. She's just trying to figure out where she is in the interaction that the two of you are having at the time. And I think a lot of people out here don't even understand the depth and range of the game when it comes to that, because a lot of guys out here, they sit around and they're trying to find some knowledge on themselves. But what I'm talking about right here isn't common knowledge, because most guys are not taught this thing. Most guys are not taught this way. And most guys don't understand that they're too busy submitting to the woman's presence, but they're not submitting to themselves. And what I mean by submitting to themselves, it has to be a time that fear and anxiety has to be overruled by the love and the trust that you have in yourself to actually change up the game. And until they get that, learn that, understand that, and connect to that, they're always going to have problems. They're always going to have issues, and they're never going to get where they want to go in relationships. And that is what we're going to be talking about today. I can cross this street without getting hit. So what happens to many people is that I'm going to talk about today, well, not people, but you guys. What I'm going to talk about today is I'm going to give you three attitudes that rewire how a woman is going to respond to you on the deepest level. And this is when you are actually connected to the game. When you have the game, one thought, one mind, one way, you'll see a different interpretation of the world, because when you're locked into the game, you see things totally different. And as long as you can see things totally different from that perspective, you are always going to win. And that's what we're here to do, and that's what we're here to talk about. Because, I mean, many of you guys out there are too kind, too nice, and too thoughtful. And what I need you to hear, and this is very important, is that these attitudes that are things that I talk about, gentlemen, these are not tricks or anything like this. These are not gimmicks. What they are is it's really a more of a connection that you have with yourself. And these are the shifts that a woman's going to make. So I want you guys to, I don't want you to actually copy this like a script, excuse me. I want you to look at this more like a code in which you have to operate for yourself, that construct and that belief in yourself. And when you can operate that way in yourself, all of this is going to change, okay? So let's talk about these attitudes. The attitude, the very first one is that I'm never seeking approval, okay? When I see a woman, again, as I told you guys before, I know that sounds crazy. When I see a woman, I invite her to be selected, meaning that I am never trying to actually seek her approval. It's the one thing that hurts so many young men. They're so busy trying to seek the approval of a woman, they lack the approval of themselves. So I'm not trying to actually seek approval. What I'm going to do is I'm going to give her an experience. That's all I'm going to do. I'm going to offer her a sexual experience, not of thirst, not being creepy, not being weird or anything like that. And this is where a lot of guys fail, because a lot of these guys out here, they fail the moment they open their mouth by the way they think of themselves. And where they fail is that they're always asking the woman for permission. They're always, because in their mind, they feel like they're just not good enough. And if they feel like they're good enough, they're always going to seek somebody to tell them that they are good enough. And this is where the problem comes in at. Because a lot of these guys out here, you can't offer a woman something that you don't know how to give, and that is an experience. And a woman feels like you're trying to get validation, she's going to get turned off by you. She's not going to feel a certain way, and that's where she's going to start to act up, act out, disrespect, BS around, play games. And she's going to start to do all these things because she knows that you're not going anywhere. And a lot of guys out here believe that in order to get the woman, I've got to put in this kind of effort. I got to put in effort. And you don't actually have to put in effort when it comes to women. The game is not about running behind the woman. I never want you to feel like you've got to put in more into a woman than she puts in you. I'll tell you real quick, had this one joint, you know what, look, I told her, you know what, let's move this thing along, let's see how this thing works out and everything. You know, I let her know what was going on, but what I would do, and I always do this, I always like to sit back and watch how they move. And when she didn't put any effort in, I didn't get mad, I didn't get angry, I didn't ask her any questions, I didn't pout or anything. I just charged her to the game. And the thing is that she wasted my time. And I don't like, guys, at the end of the day, I don't like wasting my time. But it was my leadership. She came back. She's like, well, why'd you stop talking to me? And I had to give her correction. I don't know how you operate with everybody else, but as long as you're moving this way with me, it's not going to work. And I'm never going to sit around and ask a woman what she wants every second. I'm not here to make her feel comfortable, okay? I'm here to say, this is who I am, this is what I built, and if you want to be a part of this thing, then you've got to show me that you're worthy of what? This thing. And I think that's where a lot of guys go wrong. And if she doesn't like it, there's the door she can leave. And see, when you start to move this way, gentlemen, you start to think this way, everything begins to change, because the beautiful thing about the attitude I'm talking about is simple. All right, it's very simple. You see, it's not about talking, in a certain way. It's not about talking like I'm like filling out an application and everything. You got to move. Like, this is all about me. I'm not here to say that I'm trying to run behind you. I'm not running behind you. You're here to show me why I should mess with you. And when you're grounded in yourself that way, and she feels that calm, she's gonna start to mess with you because there's something different actually about you. And that's what we're gonna roll into the next one, number 2. And you never ever, as a man, and this is when I'm talking and interacting with a woman, man, it's very important that she knows one thing and one thing only, and that is, I don't negotiate self-respect, man. I'm always going, like I said before, I'm going to enforce access to me. And this is where a lot of guys go wrong because they're exposing themselves too much. They tolerate disrespect because he's afraid of losing her, and because he's addicted to the sex and the woman, he becomes an option to the woman and not actually the opportunity. I'm always going to be the opportunity because I move this way, and women love to be around a person that's not, I'm not trying to be an a-hole or anything like that. I'm not trying to say this is what you have to be or anything. I'm not trying to say that. I'm saying, look, I don't have time for games, and if you want to play those little games and things like that, then I'm just going to charge you to the game, and that's what I'm saying. So as I say for you guys out here, and this is why this is all important, is because at the end of the day, when you think about women and all that other stuff, okay, a woman is never going to submit to a man that she can actually manipulate, man, and that's the truth. I know, and I know it sucks, gentlemen, because I know you guys like hate being treated that way, but manipulation doesn't always look like a villain plot, okay? Sometimes it looks like small little things, okay? Small little emotional games, small disrespect disguised as jokes, and sometimes it looks like that she's like, okay, I'm just trying to see what it is you're gonna allow me to do. I'm acting up. I need somebody to straighten me out. And I don't mean straighten out as hitting or harming or punching or abusing her. It's letting her know that you're not gonna talk to me any old kind of way, and I am not gonna deal with your crumbs. I am not a crumb snatcher, and if you think you want to give me crumbs, then I'm just not the right guy for you. And when you can move this way, this is where the power comes in, because it's not fake. This is where, again, I've always say the space. You always want to create space with women. That's so important. Creating space, making her feel the loss, because when a woman can actually feel the loss, it changes her interpretation of everything. And these are not games to play with women. These are just standards that most guys don't uphold for themselves. And when you can uphold those standards and everything, you win, because most guys actually believe that having a boundary, now this is not crazy, because I don't want y'all to feel that I'm talking down to you, but many of you guys feel like if I have a boundary or something, I'm actually going to lose the woman, and that's not true. Most people think boundaries run women off, but they don't understand that boundaries create the structure. But my boundaries are not to draw a woman in, it's actually to get rid of them. My boundaries are set in stone, but my boundaries are not set with sex, okay? And the action, when you think about the second attitude, is that most you guys are too busy explaining your boundaries by giving away information about old and past relationships and things that you expect a woman to do and how she should move around you. And when you move and think that way, you're already going to lose with a woman, because women don't want to hear that. Women want to hear structure. They want to hear dominance, and they want to hear okay, I'm here now. Where are we going? That's all they're asking. They're asking that question. I'm here now. Where are we going? And this goes to number 3. See, there has to be a stillness, and there has to be a calmness with you. And when I say still and calm, there has to be a type of attitude, and this is what I call the realist attitude, because when you're locked into yourself, there is a level of laid back, like, I don't have to worry about it happening. It's gonna happen. I don't have to worry about getting that ass. It's gonna happen. I don't have to worry about, when I'm talking to a woman, I don't have to worry about her masturbating over the phone. I don't have to think about the nude pictures and things. I'm gonna get those on general principle, because she wants to do that for me because of how I make her feel. And that's what creates the tension. I'm not rushing this. I'm not rushing it, but I'm not wasting my time. There's a difference. Rushing, wasting time. I'm never going to put myself in a position to waste time. But what I want to do is I want to put a woman in a position where she's feeling relaxed. Because the more relaxed she's around me, the more she's going to let her hair down, and the more she's going to really start to let herself open up to me. When a woman feels a tensity from you, it's a nervousness in you that makes them feel like, man, if you're nervous, I'm nervous. You know, if you're moving this way, then I've got to be careful how I move around you, because I feel like I can't tell you everything. If I say something to you, if I tell you something, you know, how are you going to take it? How is this thing going to roll? What is going to happen between you and I? And I think so many guys, I think this is where a lot of guys mess up. So this is when you have to be laid back, okay? Because if you can lay back and relax yourself and don't make it about the sex, make it about your time, and everything I talk about has meaning, and everything I say to her is going to lead her somewhere. And as long as you're doing that, you're not going to have the issues, because you're actually going to change up the interactions, and you're actually going to change up the game. It's really a definitely mind change. It's huge how so many young men out here just missed the mark on that, because nobody ever told them the depth of the game. Nobody ever said to them what they need to do. See, this is why Attitude 1, all these things are going to give you direction. And what's going to happen is women are going to feel your structure. They're going to feel your stability. They're going to feel that with you, I can be, say, and do whatever I want to do and not worry. Without judgment, without ridicule. And then when you move this way, what happens is when you take out assumption, judgment, and expectation, it triggers in her. She then will trigger judgment, assumptions, and expectations of you. And that's where the whole thing is that's where everything kind of flips the script. That's where everything changes around, and that's where you win. And if you want a woman to submit, okay, and they will submit, and it can be powerful, you've got to create in yourself with the game something that is showing her why she should submit to you. Once she can feel that reason why, gentlemen, you are going to win. And that's how the game works. But it is very important to understand the only way it's going to work is you got to be a student of the game. This is not something that you can just write down. I think one of the biggest problems that a lot of young men have is that they write things down on paper, and because they write them on paper, they think just because I write it down, it's going to come to fruition. It doesn't work that way at the end of the day, gentlemen. At the end of the day, this is the most important thing that you guys need to learn real quick. At the end of the day, gentlemen, this is not about trying to manipulate a woman and get her to do something. I don't want you to ever try to manipulate the woman. What I'm trying to get you to do is really believe more in yourself. And when you can believe more in yourself, you're going to change everything up. And I think most guys will understand that until you start to learn the game, you're not going to understand. It's just going to be words and ink on paper. And I don't want you to move that way. The way I really want you to move is I want you guys to realize that you know what, I have value, I have worth, and I need to work on myself. And it's just something that you need to do. And when you're ready to do it, you know how to find us. Just go ahead and get at us, you know. But listen, guys, again, this is the end of our discussion, but not the end of the conversations that we can have. If you're ready for your pathway, just send me an email, themanmindset@gmail.com. Ask for your pathway. I'll see the PDF file. Then you can start working on what I'm talking about, because this is the beginning. There's so many layers underneath this that we have to hit. But gentlemen, always remember we have live shows, videos, YouTube shorts, and everything under the sun for you young men to soak up this game, to realize that we are not like everybody else. We do, and we talk about things that no one else talks about on YouTube, especially on our live shows. So make sure y'all check that out. But guys, if you like this video, you're going to love the video that I have right here. Make sure you check that out and soak that out. But guys, please listen to what I'm saying. Soak up this game, and we'll talk later, all right? Peace.